Alright guys, we're going to be tearing an engine apart. So this truck went into 590s and weighs like 6,000 pounds. So it's not a light truck. Well, it's light compared to some, but it's not light. Should be making between 1,500 horsepower or so. Base is a 6.7 engine. But we're just going to rip it all apart, see what's going on. Inside we knew it was hurt before we pulled it apart. We weren't sure what was wrong.
Ooh, a little witness mark from the valve there. Or a seat. Look at number 4 cylinder. So look at number 4 cylinder. Like a mark in the top of that piston from something.
Yeah.
It's like from a seat or something.
Pardon me? Yeah, that's a
There's
weird
a mark
mark
in the top of that piston.
Could have been when I lost my turbo and it just floated.
You can't make a 1,500 horsepower have an O-ring.
Nope.
It'll blow a head gasket.
Apparently. Doing pretty good.
So I guess I should mention, David is the one that owns this. He's the big guy in the green sweater. This is out of his little truck that I showed you the picture of. So I just wanted to say there definitely was some damage in the engine. Some of it was avoidable, and we knew some of the stuff that we should have had in the engine. At the time when we put the engine together a few years ago, they weren't available, so we didn't do it. And what I'm talking about is tool steel wrist pins, and we couldn't get, so it is what it is at the time. And probably if he wouldn't have turned it up the last little bit, it probably would have been okay. But being that he turned it up, it, well, obviously wasn't okay. But if you don't know the tipping point, you don't know the tipping point. So we know the tipping point now, and all the engines will be getting tool steel wrist pins because it's only money.
All right, you guys missed a little bit. Battery went dead, and I didn't realize it. I wasn't paying attention to the camera, apparently. But we didn't really find anything. Well, we found some stuff wrong, which I already showed you guys. So we took we got the wrist pins pushed out of the rods, but we already know, we talked about this already, what happened. The bushings spun in here, and the only time I've ever seen that happen is if your wrist pin starts to distort or you run out of oil, and this didn't run out of oil. So from the look of it, looking at all the pistons and everything, what was happening was obviously his last run or two, I'm going to say, yeah, 1 or 2, this pin, which you wouldn't think that pin would twist, but that pin started to twist, so it would be, well, I guess it's one of those things. It'd probably be going this way and that way, depending on which way the piston's going up and down. But the wrist pin deformed, and you can actually see like the pickup from the piston on here. I had to push it out with the press, push them all out with the press. But honestly, other than that, it looked really good. All the bearings. Now this engine would have been making, let's say, probably 12 to 1,500 horsepower for a couple of years in his little race truck. I'll put well, you've already seen the video at the start with the time slip. That was the last time slip. I don't know if that was the last time he ran it or the time before that. Anyways, doesn't matter. That was a time slip, so the thing is obviously making some juice. So this is the bearings out of it. Our oil clearances are 3.5 thou rod and main, and same with on the, like on the main, or all the main bearings. Like, I know they're not all here, but I think these are actually all the uppers. Anyways, the other ones are laying in the box there, but they all look really good. So I'm really happy with how this thing is working. We're only changing a few things. Obviously, well, we're going to get those rods fixed. I'm going to send them back to Wagler, get them to rebush them for them. But we're going to put a new set of Wagler Street Fighter rods in the engine. We're going from the infamous QSB style back to an ISB style, so a smaller bowl because they're stronger and they like to take nitrous a little bit better, apparently. So, well, I shouldn't say apparently, they do. So we're going to change it. Regardless, we were changing the pistons. We're just hoping the pistons weren't junk because he actually had somebody that wanted to buy them. It is what it is at this point. Obviously, new bearings. We're going to go through the block, check the main bore, make sure it's perfectly straight still. Probably just touch it up with the hone. So we're basically completely going through. But something I did want to show, where's the cylinder head? Over here. So this is for a lot of guys saying that you can't run an O-ring with that much power. Well, poppycock. This is the cylinder head came off of it, and it did not have a blown head gasket. That is with a set of 625 head studs that have been retorqued 3 or 4 times. Make sure it's tight, and no blown head gasket. That is with, what was it? We were looking at he wrote everything down. It's 18 thou piston protrusion, or sorry, wire protrusion, not piston protrusion, wire protrusion on the O-ring. So if somebody says you can't use it for that much power, you know, if you got 800, 900 horsepower, even a 1,000 horsepower truck, I've got a few of them out there that are like that, and no issues. Have to have 625s. Must retorque at least a few times until you stop getting a pull, and probably check them every once in a while. This one was checked quite a few times. But I'm very happy how this thing turned out. Even the bores still look very, very well, because you can see as the pistons they don't rotate anymore, they get screwed up. But honestly, not that bad. That's just from me getting stuck. And the only spot we did find was one spot where it looked like the valve was touching. Well, it was touching. It was because that number 4 piston was the worst one of the bunch. So I'm thinking that the piston was coming up, cocking on the bore, smashing into the cylinder head, coming back down again. So it only did it a couple times. I'm thinking I'm pretty sure this happened the last pass. That's what I'm assuming. But we were taking it apart anyway, so it was like the perfect time if it was going to happen. It's the perfect time to happen. So we're really not doing too much of this thing. It's just going to do a refresh. It's just a little bit more expensive than we anticipated because you're going to have to do pistons. We were doing rings anyway, new bearings and new Street Fighter rods. So I think that'll cut it off for now. And you'll see us, I am going to video putting this engine back together. I don't know if it'll be in detail or not. Let me know down in the comments if you want it in detail. If you want it in detail, it's a little bit more work. It's considerably more work for me. But let me know. We'll see. If I have time to do it, I will. Regardless, we're going to show putting it back together. And I'm going to give all the specs for doing it. There's nothing. This is nothing super special. There's no secret squirrel stuff. None of that stuff. So go out, get your trucks running. Summertime's here, and keep your shiny side up.